The door creaked open and my heart stopped. Sophia stood there, her silhouette framed by the dim hallway light, eyes blazing with something I couldn't name. Anger, maybe, or something deeper, something that made my breath catch. I clutched the book in my hands, the words blurring as the world tilted under her gaze. I was 38, a single mother by choice, not circumstance, living in a modest Brooklyn apartment with my stepdaughter Sophia, who'd come into my life when I married her father 5 years ago. That marriage had crumbled under the weight of his indifference, leaving me with Elise, a broken heart, and Sophia, who was now 22, in a storm I couldn't predict. She wasn't my blood, but she was my responsibility, my puzzle, my unexpected anchor. We'd built a fragile peace, two strangers bound by a man who'd left us both, but tonight, that peace was shattering. "Elena," she said, her voice low, almost a growl, as she stepped into my bedroom without knocking. Her leather jacket gleamed under the lamplight, her short black hair a mess of defiance. "We need to talk." I set the book down, my hands trembling. The air felt heavy, like the moment before a summer storm breaks. "Sophia, it's late. Can't this wait?" "No," she closed the door behind her, the click echoing like a gunshot. "It can't." Sophia had always been a mystery. When she was 17, she'd been a quiet, brooding teenager, her eyes always scanning the room like she was looking for an escape. Now at 22, she was a graphic design student at Pratt, sharp-edged and fearless, with a laugh that could light up a room or a glare that could burn it down. I'd watched her grow, watched her wrestle with her identity, her anger, her place in a world that didn't always make space for her. She was queer, unapologetically so, and I admired her courage even if it intimidated me. I wasn't like her. I'd spent my life playing it safe, teaching high school English, keeping my heart locked away after too many betrayals. My ex-husband, David, had been the final nail in that coffin, leaving me to raise Sophia while he chased dreams in California. I told myself I didn't need love, that I was fine alone, but Sophia's presence in my life was a constant reminder of what I'd lost, and what I still craved. "Elena," she said again, softer now, her green eyes locking onto mine. She stepped closer and I felt the room shrink. "Why do you keep pushing me away?" "I'm not," I started, but the lie caught in my throat. I was pushing her away, had been for months, ever since her lingering glances started feeling like more than a stepdaughter's affection. It was wrong, wasn't it? She was young, vibrant, alive in a way I hadn't been in years. And I was what? Her guardian? Her mother figure? The lines were blurring and I was terrified. "You are," she said, her voice breaking. "You act like I'm a stranger, like I don't matter. But I see you, Elena. I see you when you think no one's looking, when you're reading alone or staring out the window like you're waiting for something that never comes." Her words hit like a punch. I stood, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. "Sophia, you don't understand. I'm trying to do what's right." "What's right?" She laughed, bitter and sharp. "For who? For you? For me? Or for some stupid rule you think we're breaking?" I opened my mouth but nothing came out. She was too close now, her breath warm against my cheek, her eyes searching mine for something I wasn't sure I could give. My heart pounded, a traitor to my resolve. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not here, not with her. The city hummed outside, a distant pulse of car horns and late-night chatter. Brooklyn never slept, and neither did my thoughts. Sophia had moved out a year ago, living with roommates near campus, but she'd come back last month after a fight with her girlfriend, Riley. I'd let her stay, telling myself it was temporary, that she'd leave again soon. But every day she stayed, the air grew thicker, charged with something I refused to name. "Sophia," I whispered, my voice barely audible. "You're young. You have your whole life ahead of you. I'm not what you need." She flinched like I'd slapped her. "Don't tell me what I need. I'm not a kid anymore, Elena. I know what I feel." Her words hung between us, heavy and undeniable. I wanted to run, to lock the door and pretend this moment never happened, but her gaze held me in place. She was right, she wasn't a kid. She was a woman, fierce and flawed, and she was standing in my room, asking for something I'd spent years convincing myself I didn't deserve. "I'm scared," I admitted, the words slipping out before I could stop them. "I'm scared of what this means, of what people will think, of what it makes me." Sophia's expression softened, and for a moment, She looked like the girl who'd cried in my arms after her father left. "You think I'm not scared," she said. "I've spent my whole life hiding parts of myself, trying to fit into someone else's idea of who I should be. But with you I don't have to hide." Her hand brushed mine, a fleeting touch that sent a jolt through my body. I pulled back, my heart racing, but the warmth of her skin lingered. This was dangerous, reckless, wrong. But it felt like the most honest thing I'd ever known. The next morning the apartment was quiet, the kind of silence that follows a storm. Sophia was gone, her jacket missing from the hook by the door. I sat at the kitchen table staring at my coffee, replaying every word from last night. I'd sent her away, told her we couldn't cross that line, but the ache in my chest told me I'd made a mistake. I went to work, teaching my classes on autopilot, my mind stuck on Sophia's eyes, her voice, the way she'd looked at me like I was the only thing that mattered. By the time I got home, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the apartment. Her key was on the counter, a note beside it. "I'll be back. I just need time." I sank onto the couch, the note crumpled in my hand. I'd pushed her away to protect us both, but all I felt was loss. The city outside buzzed with life, but inside I was alone, grappling with the truth I couldn't ignore. I was falling for her, and I didn't know how to stop. Days turned into weeks, and Sophia's absence carved a hollow space in my life. The apartment felt too big, too quiet, her laughter no longer echoing down the hall. I'd see her at family dinners, awkward, strained affairs where we avoided each other's eyes, but she hadn't come back to stay. Her note still sat on my nightstand, a reminder of the line I'd drawn and the cost it carried. I threw myself into work, grading papers until midnight, hoping exhaustion would drown out the ache. But every quiet moment brought her back, her crooked smile, her fearless honesty, the way she challenged me to see myself. I'd spent years building walls, but Sophia had slipped through them, and now I was unraveling. One rainy afternoon, I found myself at a cafe near Pratt, hoping to catch a glimpse of her. I told myself it was a coincidence, but I'd chosen this place because she'd mentioned it once, a favorite spot for sketching. The door chimed, and there she was, shaking rain from her hair, her green eyes scanning the room. When they landed on me, time stopped. "Elena." She froze, her sketchbook clutched to her chest. "What are you doing here?" I don't know," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. The truth was too raw. I missed her. I needed her. But saying it felt like stepping off a cliff. She hesitated, then slid into the seat across from me. The air between us crackled, heavy with unspoken words. "You look tired," she said, her voice gentle but guarded. "I am," I said. "I haven't been sleeping." She nodded like she understood, and for a moment we just sat there, the rain pattering against the window. Then she leaned forward, her eyes searching mine. "Why did you push me away, Elena? Was it really just about what's right?" I swallowed, my throat tight. "It's complicated. You're my stepdaughter. People will talk. They'll judge. And I'm older, Sophia. I've got baggage, scars. You deserve someone who's free, who can give you everything." Her jaw tightened and she leaned closer, her voice fierce. "I don't want someone else. I want you. And I don't care what people think. Do you?" I wanted to say no, to be as brave as she was, but fear clung to me like damp clothes. "I care about you," I said instead. "I don't want to hurt you." "You're hurting me now," she said, her voice breaking, "by pretending this isn't real." Her words cut deep and I looked away, unable to hold her gaze. The cafe buzzed around us, but we were in our own world, teetering on the edge of something unstoppable. I wanted to reach for her, to close the distance, but the weight of the world held me back. That night I lay awake, replaying our conversation. Sophia's courage was a mirror, reflecting my own cowardice. I'd spent my life running from love, from risk, but she was different. She was worth it. The thought terrified me, but it also set something free. The next day I texted her, "Can we talk? My place tonight." Her reply was instant. "I'll be there." When she arrived, the air was thick with anticipation. She stood in the doorway, her jacket dripping from the rain, her eyes wary but hopeful. "You wanted to talk?" she said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. I nodded, stepping aside to let her in. The apartment felt alive again, her presence filling the empty spaces. "I've been thinking," I said, my voice shaking. About us. About what you said. She crossed her arms, waiting, her expression unreadable. I took a deep breath, the words spilling out before I could stop them. I'm scared, Sophia. Scared of what this means, of what it could cost us. But I'm more scared of losing you. I feel it too. Whatever this is between us, it's real. Her eyes widened, and for a moment she didn't move. Then she stepped forward, closing the distance, her hand brushing my cheek. Elena, she whispered. You don't have to be scared alone. Her touch was electric, and I leaned into it, my walls crumbling. We stood there, inches apart, the world fading until it was just us. Then she kissed me, soft and tentative, like she was asking permission. I kissed her back, and in that moment nothing else mattered. The weeks that followed were a blur of stolen moments. Late-night talks, shared meals, her hand in mine as we walked through Prospect Park. It wasn't easy. Guilt gnawed at me, whispering that this was wrong, that I was betraying some unspoken rule. But when Sophia laughed, when she looked at me like I was her world, the guilt faded, replaced by a warmth I hadn't felt in years. We kept it secret, not out of shame but necessity. The world wasn't kind to love like ours, and Sophia's father, though absent, loomed like a shadow. I wondered what he'd say, what anyone would say, but with Sophia beside me, those worries felt smaller. One night, as we lay tangled in my bed, her head on my chest, she traced circles on my arm and said, I've never felt this safe before. Not with anyone. I kissed her forehead, my heart swelling. Me neither, I said, and I meant it. For the first time I wasn't running. I was home. But secrets have a way of unraveling. It started with a phone call from David, Sophia's father, announcing he was back in New York for a visit. My stomach churned as I hung up, the fragile world we'd built threatening to collapse. Sophia was in the kitchen, sketching, her brow furrowed in concentration. I watched her, memorizing the curve of her jaw, the way her fingers moved with purpose, knowing everything could change. David's coming tomorrow, I said, my voice flat. She looked up, her pencil stilling. He wants to see you. Her face hardened. He doesn't get to just show up after years of nothing. I know, I said, sitting beside her. But he's still your dad. And we need to be careful. Her eyes narrowed. Careful? You mean hide? I winced, hating the word, hating the truth of it. Just for now, I said. Until we figure this out. She pushed her sketchbook away, her voice sharp. Figure what out, Elena? That we love each other? Or that you're still ashamed of it? I'm not ashamed, I said too quickly. I don't know how to navigate this. He's your father. I was his wife. This isn't simple. Nothing worth having is, she snapped, standing. I'm not going to pretend I'm someone I'm not. Not for him, not for anyone. She stormed out, leaving me with the echo of her words. I wanted to chase her, to tell her she was right, but fear rooted me in place. David's visit wasn't just a visit, it was a test, one I wasn't sure I could pass. David arrived the next day, all charm and apologies, as if he could erase years of absence with a smile. Sophia was polite but distant, her answers clipped as we sat in a Manhattan diner. I watched them, my heart a tangle of guilt and longing. David didn't notice the tension, too busy talking about his new life, his new wife. But Sophia's eyes kept finding mine, a silent question hanging between us. Are you in this with me? After dinner he pulled me aside, his voice low. You've done a good job with her, Elena. She's strong. Like you. I forced a smile, my chest tight. She's her own person. He nodded, oblivious to the storm inside me. When he left, Sophia grabbed my hand under the table, her grip fierce. I'm not letting him ruin this, she whispered. I'm not letting anyone ruin this. Her words were a lifeline, pulling me back from the edge. But the fear lingered, a shadow we couldn't outrun. The next blow came unexpectedly. Sophia's ex, Riley, showed up at the apartment, her face a mask of anger. You're with her? She spat, glaring at me as Sophia stood between us. She's your stepmom, Sophia. This is messed up. It's none of your business, Sophia said, her voice steady. You left. You don't get a say. Riley's eyes flicked to me, sharp with judgment. What kind of person are you, Elena? Taking advantage of her like this? The accusation stung, feeding every doubt I'd tried to bury. I opened my mouth to defend myself, but Sophia cut in, her voice fierce. She's not taking advantage of me. I love her. And she loves me. You don't get to twist that. Riley stormed out, but her words lingered, a poison seeping into my resolve. That night I couldn't sleep, Riley's voice echoing in my head. What kind of person are you? Sophia lay beside me, her breathing soft, but I felt like a fraud unworthy of her trust. I heard what she said, Sophia murmured, her eyes half open. Don't let it get to you. She's wrong. I turned to her, my voice breaking. What if she's not? What if this is wrong? Sophia sat up, her gaze fierce. Do you love me? Yes, I said, the word a confession. Then that's all that matters, she said, pulling me close. The world can think what it wants. We know the truth. Her certainty anchored me, but the cracks in my confidence were growing. The world was closing in and I wasn't sure we could hold it at bay. The breaking point came at a gallery opening for Sophia's art class. She'd invited me, her eyes bright with pride as she showed me her work. A series of bold, abstract paintings that screamed her passion, her pain, her love. I stood among strangers marveling at her talent when I saw David across the room. He hadn't told us he'd be there, and his presence felt like a trap. He approached, his smile tight. Impressive, isn't she? He said, nodding at Sophia's paintings. But I heard something disturbing. About you too. My heart plummeted. I glanced at Sophia, laughing with her classmates, oblivious to the storm brewing. What did you hear? I asked, my voice barely steady. Rumors, he said, his eyes cold. People talk, Elena. They say you're involved with her. Tell me it's not true. I wanted to lie to protect us, but the truth was written on my face. It's not what you think, I said weakly. His jaw clenched. She's my daughter. You were my wife. This is sick. The word hit like a slap and I flinched. Sophia appeared at my side, her hand slipping into mine. Dad, stop, she said, her voice low but firm. This isn't your business. It's my business when it's my family, he snapped, drawing eyes from the crowd. You're confused, Sophia. She's manipulating you. Sophia's grip tightened, her voice rising. I'm not confused. I love her. And she loves me. You don't get to judge us when you walked away. The room went quiet, every eye on us. David's face reddened, but he didn't back down. This ends now, he said. Or I'll make sure everyone knows. He stormed out, leaving us in a sea of whispers. Sophia's hand trembled in mine, but she didn't let go. I'm not ashamed, she said, loud enough for the room to hear. I love you, Elena. Tears burned my eyes, but I squeezed her hand, drawing strength from her courage. I love you too, I whispered, and for the first time I didn't care who heard. The fallout was swift. David spread the word, and soon colleagues, neighbors, even some of Sophia's friends turned cold. My principal called me in, her face grim, hinting that my job might be at risk. The world we'd tried to shield our love from was closing in, and I felt it slipping through my fingers. Sophia, though, was unbreakable. She faced the whispers, the judgment, with her head high, her art becoming bolder, more defiant. They can't take this from us, she told me one night, her voice fierce. They can try, but they won't win. I wanted to believe her, but the weight was crushing me. I started pulling back, canceling plans, avoiding her touch, terrified that my love was ruining her life. She noticed, of course, she always did. Elena, don't do this, she said one night, cornering me in the kitchen. Don't let them make you doubt us. I'm not doubting you, I said, tears streaming down my face. I'm doubting me. What if I'm not strong enough for this? What if I'm hurting you? She cupped my face, her eyes fierce. You're not hurting me. You're saving me. Every day with you is worth more than their approval. Her words broke something in me, and I kissed her, desperate and raw, pouring every fear, every hope into that moment. We clung to each other, two women against the world, and I knew I couldn't let her go. Months later, we moved to a new apartment in Queens, a fresh start away from the whispers. It wasn't perfect. Judgment followed us and my job was on shaky ground, but we were together and that was enough. Sophia's art was gaining attention, her paintings a testament to her resilience, and I was writing again, poetry that poured out of me like a long-held breath. One evening, as we sat on our tiny balcony overlooking the city, Sophia took my hand, her eyes soft. We made it, she said, her voice warm with wonder. Through all of it. I smiled, my heart full. We did. But the real victory came later, at a small community event for queer artists. Sophia had been invited to speak, and I watched from the audience, my chest swelling with pride. She stood on stage, her voice steady, her paintings projected behind her. "Love isn't always easy," she said, her eyes finding mine in the crowd. "It's messy, complicated, and sometimes the world tries to tear it apart. But love, real love, is worth fighting for. It's worth everything." The room erupted in applause and I felt tears stream down my face. She was right. Our love had been tested, judged, and battered, but it had survived. It had grown stronger. After the event, we walked home hand in hand, the city alive around us. "I'm proud of you," I said, my voice thick with emotion. She grinned, pulling me close. "I'm proud of us." We stood there, under the glow of a streetlight, two women who'd found each other against all odds. The world hadn't changed, but we had. We'd chosen love over fear, truth over shame. And in that choice, we'd found freedom. Our story wasn't perfect, but it was ours, and it was enough. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.